right, and welcome back, everyone, as we get ready for our bronze medal match between France and Sweden. They're taking the stage right now. Join with us on the desk. We kicked out Achilleos and his, bias. We brought two very biased NA casters with us. I'm joking. I'm joking. We got ZP and Hexagram's lovable duo. How you guys doing?
Good, good. We've seen some great Overwatch here today, and now we get to see if Sweden can get a little bit of redemption against a France team that, even though they didn't beat South Korea, did look very, very good.
This French team is going to want to win for each other. It might be one of the last times they get to play with each other. Of course, that's the case for a lot of these teams up here, so they're going to look to the man next to them and want to play their guts out for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup. A lot on the line here. Let's take a look at the brackets so we can go ahead and get updated in case you're just joining us for the first time. And if you are, then you clearly missed some great Overwatch, but you're still in store for some more excellent games. Today, we kicked it off with Sweden versus Canada, which saw Canada come out of that one 3-2, very reminiscent of their matchup against Australia. And semifinal 2, it was France versus South Korea. And South Korea, well, they ended up overcoming the Frenchmen, and now that sets us up in our their final match for the guys in France, final match for the guys in Sweden. So let's go ahead and take a look at this Swedish roster here as both teams are on the stage and getting ready to go. You have Chips Hyen, Zebasai, Maniton, Swoosh, Tavik, and Snillo James. This is a phenomenal team that has really been pushing themselves to the limits as much as they possibly can here, looking to get over this and get that third place. Do you think they can do it?
Oh, I definitely think so at this point. I mean, we just saw France play 4 rounds up against South Korea. Something has to have been taken out of them at that point. We'll see, though, if they can continue to play at that high level.
All right, and I was just told that the game is ready to go, so we're not even going to do the pomp and the circumstance. Let's go ahead and send it over to the casters. It's time for Sweden versus France. And in just a second, we'll be ready to go. So everyone's playing with my emotions in the back over there. I don't know if I can mentally, physically handle this. But players are ready to go. So let's go ahead. Let's make some noise. Let's send it to the casters. It's time for your bronze medal match. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. And it is time to jump into this one, potentially on a more somber note. The final time we see this Rogue roster go at it on the stage, and they've given us some incredible performances already at this World Cup.
They've been an incredible team, since this all-French lineup formed. It's kind of sad to see them go out like this, but they have a chance to kind of put a good bow on their finish, get a bronze medal here.
And yesterday, of course, the Swedish roster, well, even today, they've been a little bit disappointed with their performance. And Tavik has said, we still stand behind our decision to build this roster. Every game we go into is life or death. It's deadly serious to all of us, and I'm sure here the bronze medal wouldn't be a terrible consolation, considering who they've been going up against a lot of this time. It's going to be Nepal to start us off here. And of course, Village will be the first stage to be set here in the bronze match. Make some noise again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this party started.
For Sweden, Tavik took that last loss hard. He's like, that one was on me. But, there is not much more this guy can do. Right off the bat, takes AKM out of the sky. It's going to force France to use the res, bring him back.
And you can see Tavik, his sight lines were cut off there by AKM, being res back into the fight, and now he can pressure them. All this AoE damage from the rockets now inside that small room, making it hard, but France, they follow in. And with AKM unable to have his own sight lines on Sweden, they win the damage war. They come out on top.
Now soon, kind of move around the back here. He's going to look for the Mercy, I believe, It's going to be Chips, gets back to harm's way. You can see the positioning from Soon. It was Chips coming off of the respawn. He was searching for him. Did not find him. He expects Soon to work his way back towards the point, back towards that high ground, get a flank going for his squad.
Soon can either be a very nasty knife in the back for Sweden, or he could just be a distraction that isn't with the rest of his team. There's a fine line between being out of position and being in a flanking role. But he's on the point, so he's going to try and draw some attention over his way. Tavik finds Nox early on in the fight, so he's been opening up very, very well. First kill in the last 2 fights has gone over towards that man, and now Soon still alive here, still pressuring. France have flipped back the point as the fight just started.
Yeah, those opening picks are huge from Tavik because that's going to force the res to come out early. You hear the tac visor as well, trying to find some kills. He's going to be able to take out Nico, get some demeched as well. This should be the point, swinging back in Sweden's favor.
And how much is left in the tank for France after such a grueling display against that South Korean team? So we're probably asking ourselves now, as Sweden have started strong out the gates, they've got something to prove now. They've fallen short of their own expectations. They wanted to go all the way. They expected to. Here, of course, some moments from Zebasai as France had taken that point. The fight had begun. He was a presence, of course, delivering that healing and speed is required.
Yeah, I mean, that last match for France had to be so draining. You jump into like a slugfest, a control map. It's going to be very difficult for them to come out on top. They're going to use a sound barrier here. They're going to use their rocket barrage. You're going to be able to get Tvik with it. But Chips is going to use both of those res. Bring Tvik back into the fight. It's going to be Swoosh on the point using the Primal Rage, just trying to keep this one extended for Sweden. It'll be France able to take it back.
Yeah, almost as soon as Swoosh lands on that point, he realizes there was no follow-up from the rest of his team. So all that they could really do was displace France, but not do enough damage to secure any kills. Soon, though, however, has done a far better job of that. 3 for him already, running a riot over this team fight. Now Silo and Chips already fell. He found both supports, including a Tracer. That's a huge haul for Soon.
Sweden was able to hold on to it for a little bit longer. You know, when I saw Swoosh go down, I thought they were going to be able to take it back, France. Relative ease, but look at this. They're going to stall Manatee now. They're going to force him off the side. Beautiful play there from France. Now they're going to have to wait Sweden for him to get back into the action. You look up on the side of Sweden, you don't have any ultimates right now. I mean, maybe Zebasai gets close to a sound barrier. That's going to be about it.
Just as the bells swing over there, does control of this point. Sweden are waiting. They're waiting to try and group up here, and AKM has stayed on this Pharah. Remember, on this particular map, it can be dangerous for Pharah to interact with the point itself. There's a roof on it. You need to put yourself in harm's way, but Tvik's done just that as well. Nico gets up close and personal with the help of Nox to find that kill. It's going to be a quick res to put the 76 back in the fight. He's going to attack Visor, ready to roll, but they're missing Chips and Zebo.
Yeah, I was going to say, but when they res Tvik, you also lose your Mercy and Chips. That dive comes in from Nico. You're able to get pretty much like a 2-for-1 there. You get Tvik, they have to use the res on him, and then you kill the Mercy anyway. So they're not going to be able to push in. It's a beautiful play there from France, and now France has built up some nice ultimates. They're going to have their Valkyrie, they're going to have a sound barrier, and AKM just floating up above Sweden is going to have his rocket barrage.
AKM extra health means he can get extra close. It's going to be the barrage time, and that was a rain of rockets to come down. Tvik and Zebo fell, but that's an incredibly well-placed self-destruct from Madison. Unko and AKM couldn't get themselves out of harm's way quickly enough. And Chips has also fallen to Nico, though, to respond. France were able to cover over the damage there with a bit of res and a bit of healing. And now Nox, it's the Rock'em Sock'em Arena, and he is the master.
Oh, he's going to be able to take out 3 there with the Primal Rage. They're going to knock Tvik back. This one getting very close for France to close out the first point. There's one player alive. It's going to be Zebo for Sweden. He will fall. It's going to be France swapping the point back in their favor, in control of this one.
Nox now. Towards the front, and the red corner weighing in at over 700 pounds, of course, after that performance in that enclosed space. And Swoosh doesn't get very close. The rest of his team wasn't there. He was supposed to go left, they were supposed to go right, but he was the only one on the point. It was a disjointed push for Sweden. It didn't work out, and now this overtime will be ticking down. Swoosh again back in the fight. Now it's his time to put the gloves on and go for a boxing spree, but you can see carefully and studiously his Wins trying to avoid him now. Swoosh needs to leave the point, and no one left from Sweden is on it. He left the point almost voluntarily, and there was no one to help him anyway. The French start strong.
Yeah, he goes in for that initial push, and he has that Primal Rage. He gets hit with the Pulse Bomb from Soon, not able to get it off in time. He gets taken out. They have to use a res on him, comes back into the fight, uses the Primal Rage, but at that point, the damage had been done by France. As they take our first point here, I thought AKM was very effective with the Pharah, just able to put a lot of damage down from up above. But I think in the last, I know, with the South Korean game that we saw France play, I think Soon played phenomenal, and I think Nox did as well, carrying over that strong play into our first point.
Sweden never got their chance to take a tilt at the South Korean juggernauts, but France, it's almost as if they've been galvanized by the harrowing experience that it was to be the David in that David versus Goliath fight. France perhaps just a little bit more understanding now about what is out there in the world of Overwatch. Honestly, for Tvik, he's going up against his old team. That team was the only team, like I said earlier on, to beat Lunatic High from the Western region, of course. Let's make that clear, over at APAC last year. So these guys have history. They've got beef even going back. But so far, Sweden opens up well.
Yeah, Sweden taking complete control of this first fight. It's just Soon on the Junkrat left. He will fall. And France not able to really gain any ground. They had no control, just the push was so relentless from Sweden. As Sweden will take the point, Snilla gets on it, he caps it. Tvik getting very close to a Riptire. As I say, he gets very close. He earns it now. You could use that to stall this out a little bit longer, you know, prevent France from coming through these chokes.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Sometimes Soldier 76 makes it very, very hard for Junkrat to peek out of those hiding holes. And Tvik doesn't get to use the Riptide, he doesn't get to do anything. In fact, Chip's also going to fall. AKM, Mr. Consistent, finds his second kill of this fight, and now we can move on to the point on his own. He does have a biotic field now to drop down just for a bit of protection, but Nico's flanking him. He's side by side, and the whole hog is going to keep all aggressors at bay for now.
Yeah, and if you're France, that's a great fight. You didn't have to use this tac visor. You're going to have your Valkyrie now. You're going to have your own Riptire, so you're able to build up some ultimates here for Team France. Manitin was actually using the whole hog up on the bridge, so you use that ultimate if you're Sweden. You get really nothing out of it. Sweden will come in, though. They'll have both support ults. Manitin will actually make a switch. He'll go off of Roadhog here. He'll go back to D.Va.
Again, he'd rather prevent damage from coming through than soak it up, and it makes sense, especially up against this heavy front-loaded damage composition that France is sporting. Rez on towards Still only keep him up. He fell very early on towards Soon on the Riptire now. Soon's going to send it out. Tvik can't do much about that, just needs to receive. Maybe he didn't have the extra damage from remote mines to try and kill that one in midair. Regardless, Soon now has the role of the roost when it comes to being that Junkrat.
Oh, it's going to be the tac visor from AKM, though. He gets Nico, he gets him team-macked on Manitin, and then now it's going to be the Riptire coming in from Tvik. He's going to find 3 with it soon. Unko and AKM all fall. And things looked like it was going well for France there, and Tvik switched it right in Sweden's favor.
How about that one? Over the games that have been played, obviously Sweden with more than some. Top damage for Tvik there, and you can see just why so much emphasis being placed on this player, and Wins has got to be careful, he needs to respect this, needs to back away, but AKM is going to be there. Brothers in blood, brothers in arms, and AKM comes to the rescue of his elder.
Needs to switch to make a change. He's going to go over to the Reinhardt now, give a little bit extra protection for Team Sweden. See how France decides to attack that. They just melt that shield. It's just the Junkrat grenades, and it's just the damage coming in from the 76, able to do that so quick.
Self-destruct on the point will force France away. They want to retake control of this point. A couple precious seconds, but just that being balked for Sweden. Soon with the Riptide, guess who's going to get it? Wins! All you've won is an exploding tire in your face, my friend. Perhaps next time. France now turn this one back in their favor, and Soon's going to set up peripheral to the rest of his team. Try and work in from the side and also prevent any potential flanks to come in from the far right. Sweden's access points are being limited severely here.
And Sweden really has nothing to break in terms of ultimates here. I mean, maybe they get this Transcendence. You have no chance of getting the Valkyrie right now, and here's going to be a big whole hog coming in from Nico.
Yep. Nox, the Bongo's going to get taken down, so the damage boost available from Arista to the rest of the team is no longer present. Nico sat in a bear trap. Tvik off camera, that's 3. That's a big one. Both he and Soon have been pulling those out so far this round, and that's a huge opening for Sweden to come back, and it's not a moment too soon, man. 89 to 59 to get themselves onto the point. It's a quick and hasty retake now with double support ults to help for the next fight.
Oh, and I feel like every time Sweden needs a play, it's Tvik coming up with it. Look at this, 3-man Riptire. Opens it up for Team Sweden. As now they have both support ults, like you were saying. They're going to get close to an Earth Shatter. Stilla's going to get himself a Pulse Bomb. It's looking good for Sweden right now.
Shield sets up. Nox is attempting to create a vantage point here for France as they want to make their way over towards the point. Zero forced to AKM again. Those first picks have been so impactful. Chips is forced to go for that early resurrect and switches close to an Earth Shatter. When will he use it? That's the question. Oh, he's going to use it on AKM. He recognizes the threat that he poses, and Dylan is taken out of the picture. Wins again, fuel with hatred. His brother falls in front of him. He comes back out. Unko with the res on towards Nico. They need the hog on the point, and immediately, as soon as he gets up, Nico's found Manitin now. We can see the Valkyries over the top of the point, and there is a Transcendence in play, but Sweden have to back up a little bit there. All the fronts are being knocked around from those remote mines, and it's going to be a knock off the edge. Surely no, Unko gets back into the action. It's Z on Z action. Zebasai falls off camera, and see AKM has got a good position to do damage from. France have managed to turn it back around, but Sweden look to want to contest still. Even with such a low number of players, France are desperately trying to reinforce with the Resurrect.
And that res is huge. You get Wins back in the fight. He's so close to Transcendence. Could put it away for France. We see Tvik putting down the damage here for Sweden. He's going to toss a mine out. That's going to be the Transcendence coming in from France.
And Tvik just trying to hold some of his damage right now and wait for the Transcendence to time out. We're in overtime. Both teams are 99. Tvik to step forward onto the point. It's thrown a remote mine in the direction of the French team, who seem to be working around the edges so far. Nico Pulse Bomb going to take a quick breather and get the health back. He has a Harmony Orb and the Mercy healing. So much healing, and AKM comes in. The tactical visor couldn't have been better timed. He's working off screen, off towards the side. You can't see him, but you can definitely see his impact over this game. Soon drops onto the point. Swoosh now, desperation is just him. One monkey against them all, and one monkey is not going to do the job. Raise your baguettes. France get ahead early.
Sweden was just trapped in that bottom room there towards the end. When we were on board with Tvik, we see him just getting out towards the point, keeping it contested overtime, and then AKM pops the attack visor. Everyone's forced to go out from Sweden. just put themselves in a bad position there towards the end. It'll be France taking map number 1.
Number 1 taken away. Sweden now with a bit of work to do, but there's plenty of maps remaining. We're going to go to a break, and map 2 will be just around the corner.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Pen to paper in one of the oldest rivalries in European Overwatch, France and Sweden. These two teams, you can almost look at them like Misfits and Rogue, always at each other. There was a point in time where we had a crazy mix of French and Swedish players on these teams, and then a three-way team trade that resulted in the creation of a full French and a full Swedish roster, the ones we knew as Rogue and Misfits. Like I said earlier on, Tvik used to be the star of Rogue in that French roster with Reinforce. He left, the conditions weren't great, the teams went their separate ways, and they committed themselves following that to defeating each other on the field. And I tell you what, there's more than just bragging rights on this game.
Oh, without a doubt.
No doubt about it. Kings Row, Matt, that's map 2.
We'll see France on defense here to kick things off. They'll run the Orisa in the Roadhog tank composition. So Orisa very good at just staying alive, very able to put down the barriers, the mobility with the barriers, right, consistently. And then I think you also are going to see the halts plus those hooks. That's a great combo, right? You halt, you bring people together, you land the Roadhog hooks.
Yes, you know, obviously it kind of re-simulates Hook 1.0, Matt, the hooks that couldn't miss. Now your opponent is suspended in midair waiting for you to put him up on that hook and pick him up. So, Umko's going to fall early on this episode. Here's a fantastic opening. It's literally the best pick that you could have asked for here. And yet Sweden still uncertain about whether they want to press forward or not. Soon has been haranguing them from behind. But this is Zebasai with 3 kills. The only 3 kills on this map so far. The guy is just doing it himself. The architect of France's destruction. And Sweden work their way forward. That's 1 tick, and they'll have this first point.
You could not get off to a better start. Zebasai, he drills Unko, takes him out, then he takes AKM out, and then pushes on forward, grabs 1 more. It'll be Sweden unlocking the payload virtually instantly there, taking point A. We see some switches going down on the side of France. It'll be AKM. He'll move off of 76. He'll go to Farah. And then Nico, he'll move off of the Roadhog. He'll play Diva now, and then you see Nox moving over to Winston.
And this is a new look for Snillo.
Yeah.
We really have not seen him anything but Tracer played in this tournament. So going over towards the McCree is going to be very interesting. In his team was Finzi, who actually played the McCree, who's very, very good at that. We never saw it from Snillo, so we'll see if this works out. So far, it's been excellent, but the Pharah Mercy switch up against such a short-range composition would have been nasty if we didn't see the McCree here. And you can see Tvik and Zebasai again. It's nose to the grindstone, and the damage is forthcoming.
Yeah, and France pushes on forward, you know, maybe trying to get Sweden to use some of these ultimates, but they don't. They hold on to everything. Sweden, pretty nice advantage here. You're going to have Valkyrie, you're going to have Transcendence, you're going to have a Grav. You know, Snillo with the shots that he's drilling. Look how fast he's already worked himself up to pretty much a Deadeye. The side of France, you have nothing. I mean, when you swap out so many players at the beginning of the game, you're resetting a lot of your ultimate economy.
Yeah, and they can't do it again. You're exactly right, Matt. When they see McCree here, they can't go, oh, no Farah. We need to get rid of that. That's a beautiful grab, a 3-man. Hastily, barrier thrown down there by Nox to try and protect him, the rest of his team. It does protect him in AKM. Good response there from a Winston who's having a breakout performance in potentially his team's last tournament. And Unko has found himself the res. He actually finds a kill on Tvik as well there. So the Blaster again, he's the guy that used to count his Mercy kills at tournaments and used to come and tell me every time, after every game, how many he got.
The biggest part of that play for me was when Soon opened it up, full spam on the chips, took him out before he could even use Valkyrie. You don't get any res there if you're Sweden. So that fight went very well for France because they got the Transcendence to come out. You got the Deadeye there as well from the side of Sweden and the grab to be used. So you forced out 3 of those ultimates. You've given yourself a better chance in the next fight.
Manatyn working his way forward again. There's not much Nico can do about Zarya here. That charged particle laser is going to cut through the defense matrix very easily. But Nico has the tricks up his sleeve as well. Micro Rockets find Snillo. It's going to force the res out of Chips in. AKM goes in for the barrage. So he cleans up that Mercy. Chips putting himself in harm's way in order to get the McCree back on the field. This is how AKM's trying to manage the impact of this McCree here. Nox with 2 though, that's beautiful. Tvik just has the hastily backtrack here. Yes, he's doing damage, but there's not enough for the rest of his team. He's not in position to finish these kills. Will he find that one? Yes, 3 HP and a punch to the gob. The Australian way, and it's going to be Nox to go, but Tvik soon follows.
Well, Sweden uses their Earth Shatter there, they use Valkyrie. They still can't kind of continue that push. You're going to get that Transcendence again, you're going to get a grab. You're probably looking at a Graviton Surge, Riptire combo from the side of Sweden coming out. If Snillo could earn himself a Deadeye, but France, you're going to get very close to your Valkyrie. You already have your sound barrier, as now France is starting to build up some nice ults.
Pulse bomb thrown behind Snillo there. Soon was hoping to connect on towards the McCree, but he's got to watch his front as well. There's a lot going on, and that McCree is getting heavily pressured. He does fall to AKM eventually, tries to come forward. Now the flash on AKM doesn't give him enough to complete the kill. And in the meantime, Tvik, though, has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting here for Sweden. Finds himself a D-suit on a couple of kills. Unko now comes in with that double res from the Valkyrie. Snillo's forced to back away, but that's new Diva for you. She can get it done on her own.
And it's going to be Switch pinning wings against the corner, so you're going to lose your Lucio. You still have Unko flying in the sky, healing up Nico. It's going to be a rocket barrage from AKM. He's able to get one, but that is it. It's going to be Tvik still launching these Junkrat mines. He's able to get Soon, looking to take Unko out as Unko just flying up above him. Mercy, such a hard target to hit in the sky. Finally takes him out, but man, it looks like now Sweden will be able to take point B.
If you knew how much vitriol was behind that 1v1, that was some spicy stuff. Unko would love nothing more than to put a few bullets into Tvik's dome in the game there, but didn't quite connect. Mercy, there's some damage issues there. Perhaps that'll get patched out. I mean, I heard she's not strong enough yet, so we'll see. But Tvik on the high ground. Great position for him to be in, of course, and the Riptide can come from behind or from the front. That's the risk here. AKM switched to the Widowmaker now. Didn't have much success against Korea, did struggle a bit.
Well, you swapped out a lot of players here for France. So you swapped out one of your tanks. You have Reinhardt now. You have the Widowmaker. You now have a Zarya. And you also have a Junkrat. So you've reset 4 players' ults coming here towards the end. France needs to play this pretty perfectly as you see Snillo take out 2. Now he's pushing on forward. They have the Valkyrie up right now. They're going to use their Transcendence here as well.
That was beautiful from Snillo to find AKM. That's a long-range McCree headshot, and he found his mark. Manatyn, though, with 2. Of course, coming forward, you can see the Valkyrie. There's a lot of streams in between these players. That means there's a lot of killing. Tvik didn't even see wins, and he found him. Long-range grenades being lobbed in. It's a fusillade from afar. The mortars are coming down, and now Snillo can sit back at least and set himself up for a Deadeye here. Needs to make sure the protection is available. France has no choice but to come forward, so this is a great situation. AKM couldn't get much done. We rarely see his tracer, maybe that's why. Here's the Deadeye. Wins now down. Both Binet brothers fall to the hand of Snillo, and Sweden get there. It's 2 minutes and 20 on the clock.
It's a fantastic play there at the end by Sweden. So Swoosh actually goes over towards that left spawn door, and you're like, where are the reinforcements from France? Why aren't we seeing the contest? He lands an Earth Shatter over by the door, so those players can't walk out from the left door. Then you see Snillo pop the Deadeye, so now you can come out from that right. Forces Unko to just kind of sit behind the wall, and then he forces come out at the end, try and get a res on the point, try and get a contest. Not enough time though.
And although Widowmaker is designated as a defense hero, obviously that's where you can find her. Maybe I shouldn't have told you where to find her, guys, in solo queue. But
there are too many people who have found her.
Right. So she's generally intended to be used on the defensive side, but we find that attacking Widows have a lot more success. You can see that AKM was very limited because his opposition knew where he was. Once you know where that Widow is, you know where she's going to peek from. And even a McCree on the ground or at a great distance can win out those battles just by being able to be quicker on that trigger finger. And attacking Widow obviously can, vary her approach and come from some different angles, but it's too risky for AKM to have done it. In that case, there just wasn't enough vantage points for him to have taken.
And I think there were so many changes that came from the French team just throughout the course of the game that they never really got a great opportunity. They were able on that second point to hold them for a little bit, but outside of that, there's so many changes towards the end with the Widowmaker and whatnot. AKM has put down a ton of work here for the French line. I mean, 33% of the team's overall damage.
Significant indeed. Especially when obviously we saw a couple switches up in that particular game as well, and obviously Soon was playing that Tracer. But it's a solid piece of damage from AKM. The Pharah actually worked out against that McCree for perhaps longer than people would have expected. He had he had a good way of going about it, trying to break those sightlines as much as possible using those rooftops, and then spring forth when Snillo was otherwise incumbent.
Yeah, it's hard for the McCree in that street space, going towards point B to really get a good vantage on a very good Pharah like AKM, because he kind of positions himself on the rooftops, just kind of floating up and down, and then, oh, by the way, he has the Mercy heals as well. So we'll see now if Team France can get a good attack. We'll have AKM on the Pharah yet again. A lot of pressure on Snillo, like you were mentioning. We saw him play McCree in the first half. He's been primarily just a Tracer player. Now we're going to see him playing the 76.
AKM as well. What you can do as Pharah is try and set up on that perch above the Alderworth Hotel and then use a concussive blast to quickly shoot yourself around, slingshot yourself into the back line. This time it's going to go the old-fashioned way, though. Great combination. AKM and Soon both focusing the most important target. Snillo's down, but res. But so is Zevo and Manitin now, when Sweden are suffering. They're bleeding out, hemorrhaging casualties here. As Nox is going to fall to Tvik as often as going to be the case as that Winston, but that's one tick already, and there will be more to follow. Wins to fire up, finds Swoosh as he tries to charge across the point, and you can see if you're in a position like the rest of Sweden, you can hardly even get out of the side room. Tvik was trapped in there with Nox, and that's really not a situation you ever want to be in.
Yeah, I mean, AKM from the sky and then Soon from the ground, they were able to just pinch right down onto Snillo. They take him out right away. That one forces the res that comes out of Chips, and then all it takes is AKM. He looks to his right, sees Zebasai alone, puts 2 rockets into him, takes him out. That was the end of the fight there.
So again, you notice that AKM there as well, he actually fired a rocket through that little gap in the piping. He's not exposing himself to a great degree to allow Snillo to take him down, but he's getting a lot of free damage and obviously working towards that next barrage, which is super important. Keeping Sweden at bay, allowing France to spread out a little bit more, but that Riptide might change things. Tvik managed to get that one connected. Soon sees him throw down the bear trap, so he's not going to follow up on that one. That's the one clip on towards Zebasai, though. That's a big play, but of course the res is going to be there. That's why it's a little bit of a tougher landscape for Tracers these days.
And you do have the Valkyrie out from Team France. They're going to have a rocket barrage. They're going to have a Primal Rage here as well. There's going to be a big grab laid down by Manitin. It's going to be AKM, though, following it up with a rocket barrage there. He's going to be able to get 2. Chips comes in, brings Swoosh back into the action. There's going to be the Earth Shatter coming in from Swoosh.
Oh, great concussive blast. Swoosh can't land the charge because he was knocked away. Smart play by AKM to save much of his team after the Earth Shatter came through. Swoosh, by the time he brought the hammer down, he realized that he lacked teammates severely. Let's have a look at this barrage against from AKM, if I'm not mistaken. Zevo is low. He gets it done just to finish the job. Notice the rest of his team was actually grabbed there, so the Transcendence was well employed by Wims to keep the Frenchman fighting fit.
This next fight for Sweden, all I have is that Transcendence. You have Snillo actually making the switch from 76 over to McCree, and they're going to try and fight this. They use the Transcendence, they get over towards the point.
They can disengage here. France weren't committed to that fight. They knew that Sweden were going to be pushing in. So it's a half step back and then a big old step forward once the Transcendence was done. AKM sneaks a rocket on towards Manitin. It's a 1-for-1 in the fight, but Manitin is back on his feet. So Sweden are a 6-man roster at this stage. Again, it's very tentative from France now. They don't want to over-invest in this fight. They want to draw some ultimates if they can out of Sweden. Make it costly for them. Both teams are at 6, or make that 5 for Sweden now as the reses came through. That's Soon, and they get the checkpoint as well. Very efficient work for France. They don't have to invest anything really big in terms of ultimates. Maybe just that self-destruct for Nico, and that got him there.
Well, I mean, coming into the next fight, they're going to have their Valkyrie. They're going to have their rocket barrage in a pretty nice spot. Sweden, though, you will have your own Valkyrie. You have Snillo with the Deadeye, could potentially prevent a push coming on forward. But Tvik, towards the end of that fight, used the Riptire. He gets 1 kill, but doesn't really do much because the point was taken by France.
Soon waiting in the wings for Snillo, looking for him there. Snillo's not paying attention, no flash available. Soon picks him up. He finds Swoosh as well. That's a cheeky little icing on the cake and a kill steal, if you want to call it that. This is going to force the Valkyrie out of Chips now. Goes for that double res. Puts the McCree and Reinhardt back on their feet, and now the Transcendence for France to keep them fighting fit again. It's going to be the double support ultimates used. It's an accusation we often level at this French team, but perhaps they needed it in this situation. Snillo again drops to the Pharah of AKM. He's not able to get much done as the gunslinger so far. AKM give him heck from up on high.
You gotta wonder, I mean, Tvik finally takes AKM out, but Snillo has just not been able to really kind of neutralize him on the far play. It's gonna be a fight that Sweden wins. It's gonna be France backing out, but I wonder, you had Snillo playing Tracer pretty well all tournament long. Tvik, obviously his deep hero pool, he plays so many heroes quite well. You'd love to see him kind of take on AKM in like a 76 versus a Pharah combination. Now we see the Pharah go away though. It'll be AKM bringing out the McCree.
Okay, so this is not bad. So the McCree presence combined with the rest of Sweden focusing down AKM is enough to force him on towards McCree. But that doesn't exactly mean this is a good thing. This is an excellent pick. Oh, stunning stuff! Nox gets knocked up. He can't shield his team from the Earthshatter. And Sweden completely dashed France aside. So clever, so brilliant to make sure there was no protection and the shockwave came straight through them.
That was such a beautiful combo that comes out from Sweden. And we've seen it times with the Eureka Hall, but there it's a Junkrat Mine. Launches Nox up into the sky. Swoosh lands a beautiful Earth Shatter. They push on through. They win that fight. Now it's going to be the Riptire that comes out from Tvik.
Oh, clever. France knew it would be coming straight through there. They knew exactly where the tire had to come from, and they could just spam down the aperture. Soon, of course, with that AoE damage, you don't really want to send a Riptire through against that. Deadeye now as well. Nox knocked aside once again by a remote mine, but this time Snillo can't connect with those ultimates. I like the idea from Sweden. It worked once, but not twice.
And now Sweden, they're going to have their Valkyrie. It's going to force the Valkyrie out of the side of France. It's going to be Unko bringing Nico back into the fight as Nico just trying to provide some barriers for the rest of his teammates. It is not working out here for the French lineup, as it's going to be a Riptire that comes in from Soon. He's able to take out Manitin, so now we start to see France get rolling.
And this is McCree's life, by the way. This is kind of how you have to play it. You just sit so far back. And by the way, it might seem like Snillo's not having a huge impact, but he's got 52% accuracy, so he's hitting his shots. It's just very, very hard to get around these shields. And France are going to make their way through now. So let's see what they have. They actually have a couple ultimates. They could actually do to Sweden what Sweden did to them with the Earthshatter on that left side door, but instead Nox wants to stay back with the rest of his team. By the way, Nox can play Reinhardt. Haha! Told you he could do it. Deadeye comes through though. Manitin trying to stay behind the payload. Great Earthshatter, great response. Swoosh almost gave his life up forward, and Tvik follows up. Anything but a flat tire. The rims on that one was sparkling.
Oh, and then you use your own Earthshatter, and you're not able to get anything there for France, so that is not a good exchange. A beautiful Earthshatter that comes in from Swoosh. He sees the Deadeye that's coming in from AKM, kind of like jumps around Nox there and lands the Earthshatter. And Tvik up top with the Riptire. And take another look at it.
What do you do about that?
That was a sick play.
One team, France, are always known for using their ultimates at their own volition just to try and get those pickoffs, and in Sweden are layering them very, very well. There's a Graviton surge here. With Tvik out of the picture, it might be just a ticket. He has to get rezzed up here by Chips. And again, nothing comes from it. Big Deadeye in response. Now we're heating up, ladies and gentlemen. Both these teams, these ultimates are sick, and Snillo's timing was fantastic just then. Finds the McCree, the Zarya, and the Junkrat, and completely cuts the legs out from under France. Now they fall behind.
And with a minute to go, it is a huge mountain to climb here for France. We can take a look from Snillo's POV. It's a beautiful idea to grab Chips up in it, but the Deadeye comes in, takes out 3 players. Now Sweden, and they have that transcendence. They're going to have their Valkyrie. You have another Riptire.
Oh, direct.
It's a beautiful play there by Soon. He's going to immediately use his Riptire.
Straight on in, again, out in the open, it's hard to make what happened. Tvik looked like he wanted to get his revenge, but he couldn't quite find Soon. Soon backs away and lets Nico do the dirty work, and does it, he does. Pressing forward now, it's going to be a Valkyrie coming out from France. It's going to be Unko taking to the skies. Chips getting very close to the Junkrat, and the Transcendence to come out as well. Sweden now just trying to make this costly for time. France may make it in the end, but they're very much behind in time. They're close to the point. Tvik only gets towards one. It's not going to be enough to stop them in their tracks. He needs to get out of spawn eventually, and the res comes in for Nico. Back on his feet. D-Suit on Manitin. Switch is going to push forward. Shield put down. Tvik's on that Genji now, trying to flank around the side. Nox goes for an Earthshatter, but it doesn't really connect in the way he would have liked it to. Zebo's in the mix, but he gets taken down. Tvik forced to dash through, but it was so much damage, and AKM's McCree cuts shreds from Sweden. And they'll finish the map. They get it done. But it wasn't clean, it wasn't easy, and they don't have any more time in the bank.
This has been a fantastic battle between AKM and Tvik. Both players above 30% of overall team damage. You can see the beginning of the game. As soon as that pick goes down on the Snillo, AKM forces everything out on the Zebo side, gets him so split from the rest of the team. It's a great initial push, but now it's going to be very tough on France on the defensive end here.
Yeah, they got slowed down so much they finished the map in overtime, which means that the time bank that Sweden has, they have the entire thing to use And all they have to do is get the first tick on the point, which means 33%. It's all they have to do. And we saw they were quite effective at their first point take last time around. And Rogue definitely need to be respecting this. Although their composition will unlikely change that much. This is not the team that's going to go for, you know, like a Team Canada kind of approach, like a Larissa, Torbjorn, or you know, a Bastion or something like that. We might, maybe a Bastion. We saw Junkertown yesterday, but they'll probably play a little bit more sensible here. And you can see there's Nico on the Zarya, which is not something we always see him on.
Well, the Zarya, Ryan, you're preparing for potentially the Junkrat on the other side. You get the Zarya charged up, and she can do a ton of damage. We'll see. I mean, Tvik has played the Junkrat pretty consistently throughout this. I'm interested to see if Sweden rolls out with this with Manitin on the Widow. They can put a ton of pressure and maybe able to catch France by surprise.
I'm okay with this setup here as well. McCree's incredibly susceptible to Widowmaker, especially at these ranges. That shield from Nox is going to make life a little bit harder for Manitin, but he's getting some damage done with that poison mine. Snillo's flanking right now, so you can see him up on the top right briefly on that Tracer. This is going to force France into that back corner. Tvik finds Soon, though. That's a great little pickup, and it's going to force the res. France have to go now. They need to be ready to push forward and get in the face of Sweden if they get too close. They can't sit back and just let this happen to them.
Yeah, but you saw a little bit here from Manitin's POV, how far he forced AKM back, and now the kills are starting to trickle in for Sweden. Just the free damage that he's able to get down. Manitin at range. Picks off one. AKM trying to swing this fight in France's favor. It's going to be rezzed up right away, though. Chips brings Tvik right back in.
Almost one tick. They've almost got it. Oh, France had to get back quickly enough, but no, Unko was the last man. And the Hail Mary play from the Angel was just not going to get it done. Now we got a series, and we deserve one. These two teams have been going back and forth for so long. We've been waiting for this match for a long time as well.
The Widow pick was great there coming out from Sweden. Manitin was able to create a lot of space for Snillo to go on a flank, and then Tvik just forcing the team into that back left corner with the Junkrat. There was really nothing that Team France could do.
One apiece in this series now. Next map, of course, is going to be Assault. It's going to be an interesting one. Much more to be played. It's all tied up here. We'll be back after the break with more of Sweden versus France. Don't go anywhere.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
And we're back here in the BlizzCon arena for our bronze match here at the World Cup for 2017. It's France versus Sweden, locked, of course, in a mortal battle for the supremacy in the European region. They won't have anything more today, unfortunately, but Hanamura match is going to be our next map.
Excited to see how Sweden comes out here on Hanamura. And we just saw France play this against South Korea, so you know those guys have the opportunity to watch in the back. Maybe they kind of know something that they can exploit here.
Or perhaps they're just thinking to themselves, if our way of play worked against South Korea, how could it go wrong here? How could it fail us? They're going to be starting on the attacking side with a composition that doesn't resemble anything out of the ordinary, Matt. This is classic vintage Rogue. And on Sweden, one could say mostly the same. Manatyn on the Roadhog, though.
We'll see. It looks like he's just kind of sitting on top on the Roadhog. It's going to make things very difficult to kind of walk through this choke. Obviously, the threat of the hook from Roadhog, and now when he's able to take a breather, take a little bit more damage, just creates so much space just by being just a large object. As Snillo takes Soon out right at the beginning of the game, probably not going to be able to get rezzed.
Well, tell you what, they're both not getting rezzed. I'll give you the big tip, man. He was too deep, though, you're right. Snillo's positioning would have made it impossible to go for the res, but France are just looking to see what they can get here. If they can draw anything out, or perhaps try and exploit some sort of vulnerability in the setup of Sweden. But that was largely an underwhelming push, and while they may have generated some ult percentage for themselves, so have Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, the push comes in, Soon tries to get on a flank, Snillo takes him out. You're not going to just basically send your Mercy into suicide there to bring your Tracer back to life.
Probably not.
There's nothing you could really do there. You're France, and now Soon is just trying to get some poke down on a Swoosh, see if you can get him weak. It's going to be Nox, though, falls at the hands of Snillo. That's going to force the res out. Swoosh takes out AKM. This looks like another failed push.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're on board with Soon here, but the rest of Rogue have already been pushed back outside the gate. Nico just got hooked in there. That's why he fell. And that's tough, if you're Nox. The second you hit the ground, you're being blown up. That Discord orb from Zevasai would have definitely attributed to that damage being there. But of course, a Roadhog, it's super difficult. Nox has to be very, very careful with the way he engages. It must be a team effort. Nico must be there. So Soon, again, that was just a cheeky little pull. Recall off the point when we realized that Sweden will respond. But now it's going to be time to go soon. Tackvisor, Valkyrie's there. So let's see if the patience of France pays off, because Sweden are toting a lot of ultimates themselves.
It seems like Sweden kind of trusts Snillo to take this 1v1, track Soon down, and then take him out. It's going to be Tvik demeching Nico here at the beginning, so not going to have the Matrix to push on in. Swoosh uses the Primal Rage, takes Nico out. Now it's going to be the res that comes through. It's going to be the Valkyrie as well. There's a big pulse bomb on Manatyn. He gets res right up as Valkyrie comes out from both sides. Now you're going to see the Transcendence come out from France as well.
Yeah, and that's what France were hoping to use to try and come forward with. Unco saving a res for Soon. That's going to allow him to continue to come forward. A lot of ultimates here for France still to be used. Here the Tackvisor, though. Tvik was a little bit quicker on the trigger finger, though. AKM, you can't sleep on him like that. Gonna have to get up early to beat Tvik in his own game, my friend.
And he uses his own Tackvisor there as well as he's coming around the corner. Tackvisor beats Tackvisor, and he's gonna get pretty fortunate. Oh!
Top 10 anime betrayals. Nox is not going to the grave with you, Manatyn. Sorry, not today. France will have this point now, that second tick just around the corner, and it is done. A good start for the Frenchmen again, much the same vein as their performance against South Korea.
And now you know both sides don't have any support ults here. Soon can land a big pulse bomb. Maybe you're able to get onto the point. So we can take another look at this. Nox pushing Manatyn off the side, gets another jump there. Able to make it back onto the map.
Nox, the aforementioned here, using his extra time alive now to try and corral his team into a position where they're going to make their first foray into the second stage on this map. Again, high ground control is imperative, but very difficult to try and take. And this is Snillo in the backside as well. When you try to set up in his close quarters, you leave yourself vulnerable to flanking attacks and traces. And Snillo has done a bang-up job of getting in there and flanking this whole tournament.
Yeah, Tvik's going to have the mobility to get up and contest this high ground as well. They're really trying to force AKM to go a different route. Here will be the Primal Rage in close quarters, a whole hog as well, just forcing the members of France back.
Manatyn nicely done with a whole hog there. Again, close quarters makes for an easy meal for the hungry hog. France may be considering a different route of approach. The problem is, on this map, if you want to push through the main door, you can, but you're so susceptible to that very, very strong high ground position. It's almost like you have no choice but to go up on that right side as an attacking team and just try and grind your way through.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the 76, that's the ideal position to put him in. 76 going down the middle, trying to look up towards that high ground. I mean, there could be a player to the top left, players to the top right, players directly above you. There's not really a great angle. I mean, I think you would kind of have to wonder, instead of kind of changing course of attack, maybe you get a little bit more of a shield tank in his way, get him some more space to make something happen.
AKM there grounds that rocket as well. Oh! No Dragon Blade for them, for Tvik to come through. We didn't even need to use that one. AKM, though, has his tactical visor pretty much denied there. He does get res. Tvik fell himself. Now that Dragon Blade's coming, I maybe was waiting for a little bit earlier on. Transcendence going to make it impossible, and that's going to be the Helix rocket to follow. That's the revenge that AKM was looking for. Now we move on towards the point. Snillo forced into an early recall there because of this damage from AKM up on the side. Self-destruct finds Snillo, so he wasn't able to get towards safety. One tick already. opportunity. Chips is going to try and throw himself in there. Valiantly, he makes his way forward, but it's not going to be enough. Only Manitin up on his feet, and again, it was a low ground resurrect. Manitin really wasn't there to help out. He was picked off soon as well. Tvik puts the wall up. It's a blue wall, not the green variety, unfortunately, and perhaps that's what Sweden would have needed here. AKM sits back. How about them apples, Sweden? 2 minutes and 55 seconds on the clock. What, Chips high in with that?
And although you get no use of the tac visor pretty much from AKM, the biggest kill there is when Chips pops his Valkyrie and he kind of flies up right in front of AKM. AKM just gets res, takes him out. They get to Vic weak when he pulls the Dragon Blade. They have the Transcendence. They kill him as well. And then they just funnel their way onto the point.
Good opening. 3 minutes on the clock here for France. In fact, decidedly less than what they managed to perform, I guess, or how they managed to perform against South Korea. They had a lot more time, but again, Sweden are this hyper-defensive team. Very, very good at collapsing it upon themselves and forming that phalanx, making it very, very hard to get picks. And you can see that Snillo was playing the role of the aggressor and the Hornet very, very well, waylaying the French squad as they tried to make their way up and towards the top right. But eventually it was a matter of time. They managed to push through and take main, in fact. And the self-destruct, picking off Snillo from Nico, that was the big start to the fight.
Yeah, that was a big kill as well. And I think, as we've seen throughout this entire tournament, it's, if you're able to get that first pick and then just, it's almost like camping the bodies, just wait for that Mercy to come, see if she gets a little bit out of position when they get that kill on Chips. You knew both support ults were out from the side of Sweden. That's when you really start to see the push come in. Then that self-destruct comes down, takes out Snillo. You remove the Tracer from the equation, can't really kind of stall that out for some teammates to come up and spawn. Yeah.
You could not break line of sight as Snillo in that particular situation. And he had an early recall forced out.
I was going to say, if he had recall, he would have been able to stay alive.
Would have been real nice, but AKM had made sure that that wouldn't be an option for him. Orisa for Nox on this map, and AKM going to be on that McCree. So again, it'll be a costly affair for the Swedes to make their way through. And of course, Nico on that Diva, the defense matrix is going to be able to, I guess, keep that shield from Nox alive just a little bit longer. Again, it's not like a Reinhardt, so you can't reposition that shield. Where it gets put down is where it stays, and he can prolong its lifetime with defense matrix to absorb some damage. And that's what Nico is doing, setting up with Nox.
And you also have to be careful, though, from the side of Sweden here coming on the attack at France. They have that Lucio, so you're going to have the speed. They may just try and run right past the barrier, just get around it.
Yeah, they do. But Zebasai a little bit out of position. I think he tried to go over the top left-hand side. So him not being there is really nasty because you need the speed boost to Sweden once you're making your way through these upper levels if you really want to take the enemy team by surprise. Now, what we saw there as well, quite importantly, is that Nox was able to refresh his barrier as soon as it went down. That was because a lot of those seconds of cooldown had been eaten up because Nico wasn't protecting damage from the shield, right? So he was able to put one down pretty much straight away. Sometimes Orisa's, obviously, if there's concentrated damage, your cooldown on the next shield is not up soon enough to keep it going.
You can see where that Orisa barrier is on the field. Let's see if Zebasai does a better job kind of staying with the team. This time they're going to go to the left and around it. Probably you're trying to get your 76 set up on the high ground here, shoot around the barrier, give Snillo some more space, but that's going to be a pulse bomb from Soon. Connects onto the Manitin, but it's going to be able to take out Zebasai. That's going to force out the rest.
This is figuratively and literally very roundabout from Sweden. Again, trying to maneuver themselves into a position where they can at least have even battle lines against France on this point. So I don't mind this, but again, dealing with that Orisa shield, dealing with the Halt that's pulling them all together, it's so frustrating to get past it. Unco gets picked off by Tvik, though. That's a good opening. I don't know where Sweden are able to find him. I think through the window, actually, an area that shield couldn't protect.
That had to be a phenomenal shot by Tvik. It's going to be Zebasai getting hit with a flashbang. AKM takes out two. Tvik works his way towards the point. It's going to be a Deadeye here that comes out from AKM. He falls, though. It's going to be Chips bringing two members from Team Sweden back into the fight. You see him on your screen. He's in the sky with that Valkyrie.
Zebasai as well, back and forth. He finds Soon. Finally, the bloodthirsty Lucio gets something for his trouble. And Sweden can set up on the point here now. First tick there, Nico. Wants to contest, I believe he's probably going to get point up before he gets close. No, cheeky little res. For some reason, they put Soon back up on his feet on the point, and Nico gets res. They want to contest this. Again, just make it costly in terms of time. Tvik is going to be forced out on the point. There's no real contest on the point right now. They're giving over 2 ticks. France are quite split between trying to deal with Tvik in that main window, but they're going to move on to the point with the Transcendence here. This is going to force a sound barrier out for Zebasai. He realizes that actually this fight might be a little bit trickier than he otherwise anticipated. Good on France to draw that ultimate away. They've lost the first point, but again, they're forcing Sweden to dig deep in their pockets for the answer.
Yeah, they've had to use a ton of resources to take this, did Team Sweden. So you can understand that attack, but now you have some players still alive here for France.
This could be dangerous.
Staggering out. If you can see Sweden get to the point quick, this could be bad.
Yep, they lost a couple players, and I think they lost the Mercy as well. So still they're going to walk up on towards the point. France never had a chance to set up on the high ground. They were too busy trying to make it a costly fight for Sweden, but perhaps it's them, the ones that got duped here. Maybe they were sold short in the end. Up on high, you could see Swoosh immediately responds to AKM, forcing him off that ledge. Sweden are taking up residence now inside their second point, and they've got themselves that first tick. Self-destruct. Tvik's going to need to take a sidebar for a moment and just sojourn briefly with Chips, but he's back in the fight now. The healing's being delivered. The damage boost was also there. There's going to be an Orb of Harmony actually on towards Nox as he goes for the Primal Rage. Extra healing, but it's not enough from France right now. They need to do more. Swoosh and Madison have found their own targets, and Tvik gets to the point, and again, focus on Tvik is great, but there's more than just him on this team of Sweden. You could be forgiven for thinking otherwise, but you'd still be wrong. Almost 2 ticks now. Wins back on the point, and France are able to respawn in and re-establish control.
And Nox does a fantastic job when the attack visor comes in from Tvik, locates him right away, forces him into a corner, not able to get any type of vision on any of their teammates. And that was a huge play from France because they were not set up on the high ground, not prepared for that push to come in from Sweden. They establish themselves pretty quick on the point. They pick up some important kills. Now France, they have both of their support ults here. They have nothing else really to work with. For Sweden, you're going to have both support ults. You're going to have a self-destruct and a pulse bomb here.
Wings just keeping a watchful eye on the main gate, and Swoosh is going to be met by Nox. Not exactly the Ushers you were probably hoping to see. And he's going to be pursued by them onto the high ground, but that pushes Nox straight into the path of a pulse bomb. He survives it though. He's still alive, but only just. This is going to force Wins now to come out of hiding, to step forward and deliver the Transcendence. Again, France are using this both support ultimates at once here. Let's hope it pays off because they'll be without them for a little while.
And you're going to have the self-destruct here for Sweden as the fight just extends out a little bit. Snilla is able to take out AKM. That's going to be another res that comes in from Unco, bringing your 76 back into the fight. That's going to be the second tick coming in here for Sweden. There's going to be the self-destruct coming out from Nico, just trying to clear this point a little bit for France.
It's nerve-wracking stuff there. You can see that France committed both their tanks to the high ground to try and deal with Swoosh. Swoosh baited them very, very well in committing to just getting rid of him. That's given them another tick, and they're still ahead in time. So Sweden, while not going for a full-blown, drawn-out, protracted engagement, are able to outmaneuver France, outfox them to a degree. And they've got themselves another 33% now. One more tick, they'll have their second checkpoint.
Well, when we're on board with Swoosh and he's kind of heading through that main gate, he's just kind of like poking at both of the tanks of the other team, and his teammates have actually moved all the way uncontested towards that top right high ground. That's when he jumped up and they tried to bait everybody in. Just not able to pick up the kills. The 76 battle going down here between Tvik and AKM. Nobody able to get really any view of each other. It's going to be AKM actually using an attack visor here. So he's able to take out Swoosh. We'll see if this gets res.
This should end the push unless there's going to be a res pretty quickly. The res comes in, but actually at a strange time because Chips falls pretty much straight after it. I guess Swoosh was in a dangerous position more than we may have realized. And that's Ultimate's committed to that fight. Again, Sweden forced back. However, AKM went for attack visor. It wasn't high value. He managed to get the one pick on towards Swoosh, which was ultimately rezzed. Tvik manages to hold on to his. Sweden need to shuttle him into a position now on this attacking side, up on the high ground, where he can get maximum value from this tactical visor. The first step in doing so will be getting Nico out of that pesky, pesky mech.
I mean, if you can get Tvik in a position where he can use the attack visor and force out one, I mean, if you're really lucky, both support ults, you come back with Sweden with both of your support ults. You're going to get your Valkyrie now. You're most likely going to get your sound barrier very soon. It's going to be the Valkyrie popped here from France, and it's going to be Unco in a tough position here. He's going to get tracked down here by Tvik, gets inside of the Winston bubble, gets away.
Yeah, there's that Diva defense matrix making half for Tvik, but he still got the one pick off. AKM went down. He was res pretty quickly though, and France are opting to take fights outside of their own home territory here. They move off the point, and this is going to allow Sweden to walk straight on in. They're not even going to wipe their feet when they walk through the front door, tracking mud all over the ground, but it don't matter because it's Sweden's house now. France has been evicted.
Sweden, they take point B with 1:27 in their time bank. So now we'll go into overtime rounds here on Hanamura, but they finally got Tvik in that advantageous position. You know, Unco pops a Valkyrie kind of almost before anything goes on, like France really going to take the fight to Sweden. It didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very unorthodox way that a fight is taken on the second point. Rarely do you see an attacking team actually get onto the left side and make their way down as a group. So that was when Tvik said, okay, I have an opportunity here because I know full well that Nico just committed to the high ground behind us as we ran out. So I have a window here to get attack visor damage done. He gets AKM, but AKM gets rezzed. Then Nico comes back in with the defense matrix. The real issue, I think, Matt, is that they were not on the point. Rogue committed so heavily, so all in, out to the left side of the point to try and stop Sweden where they stood.
And two, when they get all the way across that bridge, right? They go to the right side high ground, they make it all the way across through that left. And when they take out AKM, they know the Valkyrie has then been popped.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
That's pretty cool. I don't even want to finish my point. I just want to look.
It's my favorite Roadhog skin, actually. I rep that one. Good job, bro. Where were you, man?
All those arrows you play Roadhog.
Season 1 I mained him, actually.
Mitch is an Orisa main. About 33% win rate.
I believe you're the Mercy main in this pairing this season. Go check his competitive stats.
Don't go there.
You know it's true, bro.
You're going to derail this real quick.
Hey, I'm just throwing truth bombs here, bro. What can I say? Look, you were nice. You do what people ask. It's very kind of you.
I'm a team player.
That's right. Sweden on the attack now. They've got to attack for a second time running because they have less time in the bank than France. And again, they're going to make their way around the left side. This is actually how it all began last time around. This time Sweden, this is where Tvik found that early pick, by the way, on Wins or Runco, I believe. Now Nox knows better. He puts the shield further back, so he denies more angles from Tvik.
It's going to be 2 kills going in favor of France as well. It'll be Zebasai getting rest here for Sweden, but just a lot of players just losing a ton of HP. It's going to be a haul, bringing everybody back together.
Peace.
Yep. Going for a dive.
That was actually brutal.
Oh,
That's
violent.
That's really intense. Wow. Overwatch. 15 plus, fam.
So now for France, Unko, he's earned himself the Valkyrie right off the bat. So you're going to have that in the next fight. Tvik makes a change. He's going over to the Genji. So now for Sweden, you have the Lucio. You have a lot of divey characters. You're going to use that speed to get behind Nox. You're going to basically make that Orisa shield pretty much irrelevant.
Tvik now, look at this aggression coming from Sweden. They're really getting in the face of France, and AKM's gone down. The aggression was too much. The gunslinger couldn't get out of harm's way quickly. Now it's going to be the Transcendence and Valkyrie both used here, but France don't mind layering those ultimates because it's the last fight here, and it's worked out well. Stillo again gets caught out by a self-destruct. They need the Tracer in these fights right now, but she's just not there. Nico on the point, so getting a lot of that healing, and now can try and work with that shield on Nox. Pulse bomb dropped down by France. It doesn't connect either. Soon, known for them for a very long time. Unfortunately, not connecting it in a crucial scenario like this. It may not hurt him though, as the healing's still there from Unko. Manaton's going to get himself desuited there soon. That's the pulse bomb from Stillo. That's the one we were looking for. And Unko's forced to res wins up pretty quickly. McCree quickly deals with the Tracer. Stillo goes by the wayside, and Nico and Nox to stand towards Swoosh again. Last man standing. Overtime ticks down. France complete the hold. You can almost see that bead of sweat down their brow, but France have held out. Ruthless onslaught of Sweden is turned aside.
And Zebasai actually has a sound barrier there, and you may have actually caught it. I don't know what pushed him back. It may have been the halt from Nox, but as he's using the sound barrier, he gets kind of like pushed to a little bit to the right by that staircase. They're on the point, and he breaks LOS with a few players, and he only actually connects with the sound barrier on the chips. So you only get the sound barrier onto one player on the point. You had a few players still there for Sweden.
He was obviously Nox there as well. AKM combining quite nicely. You can see as well, for McCree, very much that aim-based hero when Holt's in play and Orisa's able to just keep your enemies in place for a period of time. It's very, very easy to pick them off. I also want to make a request that Mercy falling down the cliffside, I want that in slow-mo and Dolby Digital sound. It's catharsis for all the people that have been dealing with Mercy so far this season. I at least want it for my personal collection.
Like every time you play and you just feel sad, you just bring that one out and just watch it again.
And I'm going to play the Titanic music over it, and I'm not going to feel bad, not even going to feel mildly ironic about it.
Oh, okay. So now France will go on offense here. They have 2 minutes, 55 seconds to make this happen. See, nothing really changing from Sweden on the defensive end from their first defensive hold. So, France going to go with the same attack pretty much.
Again, 1/3 is all that France actually need to get here. That's a huge relief as well. You know you can play a different way. If you're not trying to win the whole fight, just be on the point for that short space of time, which also means that Sweden have a smaller margin of error. They need to stay closer to the point. They need to commit harder to defensive holds.
So when France gets to the front, okay, so you see that pick coming in from Manaton right away. Remember when they were on defense the last time he was playing up to that top left high ground? This time he actually hides in the door to the right. They put Snillo up on that top left. So France probably gets to the front of the gate and says, oh, well, they're not going to run the Roadhog again. Didn't work out for him. He's hiding in the corner, gets an early first pick.
And it's a huge relief, I guess, or at least it can be for Sweden. Now France know better, which also means, oh, hello, Manaton, from behind. How does a big hog like that sneak up behind an entire team of Frenchmen, I ask you? Well, he's done his job anyway. AKM has fallen. Swoosh gets himself 2+ a D suit. Chips goes for the res on towards Manhattan, and Sweden just secure that fight.
It's going to be the Primal Rage here from Swoosh at the end, just puts the finishing touches on it. Because now you'll have a whole hog in this next fight. You'll have both support ults here for Sweden. You're going to get very close to attack visor. France, they should have their Valkyrie. And that's probably about it.
There's literally a warning in the game that says larger and more dangerous enemies have louder footsteps. Oh, soon. That's a minute of silence, everybody. Wow, no respect, just walking straight over it. Okay, well, no res yet.
Not ideal.
Yeah, Unco obviously didn't have a cooldown available. So, or they just didn't want to use it. They say, okay, well, you know, we'll kiss the ring. We'll spend an extra, 8 seconds waiting for him to come back. But now they made their way in here. Nico's taking a lot of damage, finally getting that healing he needs. Does force Swoosh away there with the micro rockets, but gets desuited now himself. A little bit annoying to not have your Diva mech when you haven't made much progress into the point. And now Nico, yeah, is just going to get flattened there.
And look, I didn't think France was going to come in and win this fight. They were so heavily down by ults, but they needed to make it interesting, right? Pick up a kill, force some other ults out from the side of Sweden. They get them to invest nothing into that fight. So now Sweden has both support ults, the whole hog. Now they've earned themselves an attack visor. For France, you've gotten yourself attack visor. You're going to have the self-destruct and both support ults as well. So I think for France, you're either going to go all out in this fight, invest a lot of things, or maybe you try and bait some ults out, save one of the support ones for the end.
Yeah, Nox taken down by the whole hog early on. Again, France still not drawing any of those ultimates into the fight. So this is good, but not great. They've only got a minute now. So the next fight, they need to start making these investments of ultimates and start getting Sweden off of the map.
Well, that's the issue with the way this game has gone. They're really going to give themselves one shot at this. They've just kind of got staggered out. Soon going in, he has to be so careful, cannot get picked off.
4 ultimates. Attack visor, both support ultimates are there for France. They've got to go now. They're pretty much right now is the when they need to be pushing in. On the other side of that door, waits Swoosh. He's waiting for the backline to become vulnerable because he knows that France have no time to waste. They can't even turn back and try and peel here. Swoosh appears and actually leaves Nox pretty much on his own over on the point, but he goes anyway. Transcendence drawn out. Who can AKM find that's not being healed right now? The answer is absolutely nobody. Soon, however, is felled by Tvik. The aimbot too good. The Resi's there though, and Roger with 6. France are with 6, should I say. Sweden also have the same amount of players. Now it's back and forth again. Second res coming out from Unco. Soon back on his feet. AKM sitting up towards the side. He's being swatted aside. Then it's frustrating. He can't get towards the point. It's all blue in the kill feed. Sweden looks like they're going to hold on, and you better believe it, they've done so. Reciprocal full holds for both these teams. That is a draw.
From AKM's POV, you saw what he saw in his attack visor. He was not really able to get much damage down. That was not being healed up by anybody. Tvik with his attack visor, he gets 1 kill onto Soon because he's so deep, trying to put a lot of pressure on the Tracer, but that just forces that extra res out that you don't have for somebody else on the point. Makes a difference at the end.
Well, regardless now, this map has to go all 5 maps, ladies and gentlemen. Get fired up for this one. It's going to be fantastic. Quick break now, and we'll be back with the rest of the series. See you soon.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
They're bloodied and bruised, but both refuse to bow. It's 1 win apiece and a draw between France and Sweden. that makes the series 2-2. And it definitely means, Matt, we're going to get ourselves a 5th map at least in this series. But Watch Point Gibraltar is up next.
It'll be France on offense. I think for both of these teams, I'm interested to see if we see any triple DPS with the Widowmakers. No, AKM, a very good Widow. We've seen Zebasai in the past on this map run the Widowmaker.
The initial Misfits comp, as we dubbed it.
Yes, I wonder if it'll be a factor here because at least at the beginning, right? I mean, if you're going to run, well, the other team's going to run solo support, right? Which we see a decent amount of times here on this map, at least at the beginning, and obviously the solo support would be Mercy. You can just deny her a lot with that Widowmaker on the offensive side.
Yeah, I mean, and the strat here from a lot of the Swedes, they were kind of the first to do it, was Genji, Sombra, and 76, or sometimes a Widowmaker instead of the 76 to have that long-range damage. It looks like... Oh, what is that?
I've never seen that Roadhog dance before.
Rather sprightly for a big guy, isn't he? I guess that explains how managed to sneak up behind France on that last map. Again, so the chain hook accuracy is a big deal. Obviously, he's playing probably more hog than most, so the more time he plays, it's impressive that he keeps that strat so high. He's also been very, very hard for Nico to deal with. You can't, again, do anything about those hooks. Very easy to blow up a mech after it gets hooked in just like that. You can see that's the result. Nico now has to back away and wait for the healing, but AKM is hunting. He's a prowling on that Widow.
And let's see how Chips handles this. You know, Chips such a talented support, one of the best in the world. The solo healing is something he is definitely used to. Now just trying to fly around his Mercy, just get out of AKM's way.
AKM there. Just thorns in the side, and he realizes that, yes, Snillo was out and about. Managed to get himself behind the rest of the squad. You can see both DPS players from Sweden are playing behind France and away from the rest of their team for the time being, which is low. AKM needs to connect these shots. Again, the heads are showing themselves, but AKM is not able to put bullets in them just yet.
I mean, here's the bad part about the Widowmaker, right? If you can't get any line of sight on any of the members of Sweden, you just keep getting pushed back by the Genji and the Tracer, you're not really contributing much of anything to your team. So it's going to be something where, you know, AKM is going to have to start landing these shots, getting in better positions, or you're probably going to have to switch off.
A slap in the back of the head, and Snillo reminds soon that the young blood is a-coming. Pulse Bomb was already available there for him as well, so obviously soon have his. Snillo's very close to one of his own. Tvik gets picked off there by AKM, but a good response here. And there's no chance for France to punish any position there from that Mercy to get the res on the Widow. They were sitting back and safe. It's pretty tough to deal with that, actually, at the moment in this game. Long way away.
And the fortunate thing for France is on the offensive side, right? Both teams have their Mercy ultimates, the Valkyrie, is that there's not going to be a second support ultimate on the side of Sweden. So France is going to have the luxury of getting that Transcendence when they get that Zenyatta ult, but it's going to be Wins getting very low here. He's going to get taken out before they even get it up. It's going to force one of the reses from Unko to go on to Wins.
Yeah, you can't really use Transcendence, unfortunately, if you're going to get picked up before the fight and have your spare parts turned into fancy high-class cutlery. Nox has himself at least the primal rage here, so there's something to be going on with him, especially if Sweden want to group up in that server room. It can really cause a lot of problems for them, but they seem to be refusing to do that. With the Soldier 76 able to sit up on the ledge, combined with Tvik and Snillo playing a little bit closer, Sweden are quite happy to operate in two hemispheres, I guess you could say, or in two components. The harassment, the dive from Tvik and Snillo, the rest of them sitting back, and obviously Manhattan catching tanks like this, or just a 76, and Swoosh immediately responds, drops the shield when he realized things were going south for the winner, and Zebasai does connect with the Helix rockets.
Yeah, but now France is pretty much going to have to use this Transcendence to combat the Dragon Blade that's evidently going to come in from Tvik very soon, as here it is. He's going to use that Dragon Blade, he's going to search for the members of France, he's going to find a few, and that's going to force out the Transcendence from Wins.
Yeah, and let's hope it's worth it here, because Tvik does go down in the process, and that's probably too far away for Chips to be rezzing at this stage. Oh, nicely done from AKM. Finds Zebasai before he could get himself back around the corner. No, it's not 20 tick, it's just good aim. And now Chips pressured away. Good hook again from Manhattan, making it really hard for Nico to go where he wants to go. The disruptive potential of Manhattan on this Roadhog has definitely been palpable so far in this series, and AKM was hoping to sit inside his healing field. He does do so, and Chips is going to be hard for him to kill. He gets very close. That's ballsy stuff there from the Swede, but AKM can't use his tack. He's too low.
It's just so much pressure being put on AKM from Tvik, from Zebasai. Zebasai uses his tack visor here. He's able to grab two. As Nox on the point here for France, he's able to dive into Zebasai, but it's going to be Manhattan following it up with a kill. Chips played that amazing as well. He's able to actually res Zebasai up top, just buy enough time for him to get his Valkyrie, then flies out, grabs that second res onto Tvik. They put a ton of pressure on AKM up top, force him back.
An ominous overture sounds across the map, and that indicates that France have less than 20 seconds to finish this round, or at least get to that first checkpoint. It's a huge job now. It's a very tough spot to push from now, especially with Sweden playing so passively. Defensively, it's so hard to find a crack in their armor, as it were. Nox wants to drop down. There's going to be the Dragon Blade coming in here from Tvik. Can he stop this one? Can he put an end to the rampage of the crazy Swedish ninja? It seems like no is the answer, but Tvik hasn't actually ever been able to find any kills with that Dragon Blade. Nico gets pulse bombed as soon as he resuits, and now he's going to be straight back out of the suit before he even knows it. Still, we're soon out of the picture there. There's no backstab potential from France. They're trying to get around behind Sweden, but Sweden have the high ground and they have the low ground, but soon, 2 pulse bombs. He says, bring me another. Let's hope that's going to be enough for now, because there's no presence for France on this payload. AKM's going to run on in. This might be a thing, but Swoosh chases down Nox and Unko. Fantastic stuff from Sweden. Impenetrable defense, playing safe, and using 2 out of their 3 DPSs to make it impossible for France to focus on one end of the map.
You look looking at some of the stats here for Team Sweden. The one I was looking for, I was looking at Chips. I was trying to figure out how many times he died. None. Stayed alive the entire round. They were never able to make any plays to get him out of position on the solo support Mercy in the back. They were not able to put any pressure on him with the Widowmaker or some of their tanks diving in deep. It's pretty impressive.
You can see how safe he was staying. And this is, by the way, a Widow that didn't die up against a Mercy that didn't die up against a Widow, and then eventually up against a Soldier 76. So Chips very, very good at playing safe. This guy is a Bastion. He's a fortress. And no, can't attribute that to Nox today, because he was broken down pretty easily. I wouldn't store your gold bars in there, Matt, for multiple reasons.
And I think, you know, what we saw from Chips as well on the defensive end is that, you know, he was able to obviously get so much healing as a solo support, but you don't really have to worry about Manitin, right? Healing him up, because he just has that take a breather, can just pretty much regen his health right back. If he does die, you just bring him right back up. He's just a huge target for the opposing team. You had the 76 up top, has a biotic field, can heal himself right back up. Snillo on the Tracer can use the recall, so he's really kind of focusing on Vic on the Genji, keeping him up, and then Swoosh on the Winston as well.
Good to see some Canadian fans filling up the arena. Of course, the main event is just around the corner. South Korea versus Canada in our World Cup 2017 Grand Final. But before we get there, we have an old score that needs to be settled. It's going to be on the attacking side, Sweden to come forward. All they need to do, Matt, 76.64 meters. Not even the first checkpoint here. We're going to see if they can breeze past France and get them on towards a potential final map.
And this is a strat that we saw, you know, Rogue Team France run during Contenders a lot, where they run the double support with Wins and Unko staying on the Zenyatta and the Mercy in this case, and then they put AKM on the Sombra. It's going to be able to charge that EMP up pretty quick, and he just kind of keeps running onto the payload, contesting it so it can't move forward. Then the tanks jump in, then they jump out, and then he comes in, and you get just kind of trade back and forth.
And this is classic France, by the way, this aggressive sort of forward defense. Not only does it allow them to make it costly for Sweden to press forward, but it also means they're going to get another full resurrect and the ability to set up properly once they do res. It gives them an extra all-in fight, as it were. France are one of the main teams that used to do this back when they were Rogue, getting in the enemy team's face, and they know they have to do it because, look, their margin of error is so slim. That is where the payload needs to go, that little white box over there. And Zebasai already setting forward a very aggressive position. If France has one player that peeks around the corner too haphazardly, they're done.
And this could get dangerous for France, because they want to play pretty aggressive, right, around the Sombra, getting into the cart. Same with the tanks. You're going to leave your supports wide open. It's going to be Snillo taking out Unko in the back. It's going to be Tvik picking up a kill on AKM here as well. Kills going in favor of Sweden yet again.
It's rare that we see a Sombra come out for France, but they're trying to make it work here. Multiple reasons why Sombra's not so good right now, especially because it's harder for her to assassinate those Zenyatas, even with, of course, that EMP taking his shield away. But there's no Zenyatta here, so don't even worry about it. Nox is felled, though. Tvik gets the Dragon out over on the payload to make sure Soon can't do too much, and they're going to get there. Will there be match points? It will be. Looks like the Swedes are coming home with some bronzeware.
You know, AKM just wants to push so far forward on the Sombra, get to the payload with the rest of the tanks. That, you know, Snillo was able to get behind enemy lines, land a big pulse bomb onto Unko before he could do anything on the Mercy there.
It's a tense series, there's no doubt about it. Swoosh getting excited now. Far from done, though. See, with a draw in that third map, means that we need one more. One more! Take a good long look at this, ladies and gentlemen. France and Sweden, it may be all but done, but we're going to find out after the break.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
The writing is on the wall now, Matt. Unfortunately, I can't read it because it's Swedish, but it probably says something about Meatballs and imminent victory. It's 3-2 in this series, and because we have a draw, this still becomes the potential decider map. If Sweden win it out, it'll be a 4-2 win in the series. If France win it, we go to a 6th and final map.
You know, we've got some shots of the French team, and they just look pretty gassed right now. I mean, you know, they played South Korea very tough, and just kind of the energy you got to throw into that match is extremely high, and then you come right off of that, you got to play this fantastic Swedish lineup. It'll be interesting to see if they have any gas left in the tank here as we go to Oasis.
And for the Swedes, it's an important consolation to take away this series because they fell far short of what their expectations were. But a final victory against their longtime rivals here in this French roster would be quite something. And for France, this may be the last map we ever see this team on. A swan song is what they're looking for. A victory in this series is what they are hoping will be theirs. But we'll have to wait and see.
Maniton's going to go with the Roadhog yet again. And I wonder if you see, you know, France make some adjustments, switch off of this Winston Diva with the Roadhog, because he's landing it down a lot of hooks onto the Diva, onto the Winston. As you see there, it's going to be AKM, takes the Vic out right off the bat. Chips will bring him back to life. A little bit of a grudge match between these two players. It'll be Soon takes out Chips, so you're going to lose your Mercy there. And AKM, he has no fear, taking this battle into Vic one-on-one.
I love this confidence. Unco, mate, it's not about you. This is not where Robin's supposed to fight. Batman is the one that ends it, mate. You're going to wait for your turn. He gets himself in front of the Rockets, and unfortunately, he goes down. But AKM still gets the job done. Sometimes, you know, the little guy wants to get his moment in the sun. Unco's had plenty of highlight clip moments. That will not be one of them.
He's trying to make a highlight play.
He's always trying to make a highlight play.
Oh, beautiful hook here from Madison. Going to take AKM right out of the sky. That's going to force Unco down. They just blow him up. Snillo takes him out. It's a huge advantage for Sweden.
Yeah, both the Pharaoh and Mercy dealt with now by the Tracer, who've been ignored this whole time because they was too busy selling a grudge match up on high in the sky. But once they come back down to earth, they have to face reality. The Tracer that awaits him. Tvik now finds his way on towards Soon here. So he and Snillo have had an excellent final few moments here in this earlier fight. And now, we're going to have a sound barrier on the horizon here. But Zevo, Wins has one. A lot of ults coming right around the corner for both of these teams.
See how they decide to play around it. Take a look from Tvik's POV here, just laying down a ton of free damage. Gets the D-Mech onto Nico, take out Soon. Nox will fall as well. It's a pulse bomb that comes out from Snillo. It's going to force out the sound barrier.
Snillo now giving a bit of respect here. Both teams with the sound barriers, but the French one is going to decay a lot faster, especially with the whole Hog coming through. A lot of shrapnel being thrown around, but Maniton still falls to Soon. He's able to circumvent a lot of the flying particles and get himself right up behind. Snillo forced to step off the point now. France with one player on, going to try and capture it here Of course, and Swish, I'm sure, would like to stop that. So would Snillo, but AKM's too far away to try and get the kill. Just a bit of extra damage. That is living on the edge from Snillo. The young gun tries to get aggressive, and he's punished for his hubris.
It will be France still racking up the percentage here as they swung the point back in their favor. They will now take the lead as they hold on to their Rocket Barrage. They have the Primal Rage. You're going to have your Valkyrie as well. Sweden invested a lot of ults into that fight. As you mentioned, when the Sound Barrier comes out from France, they use their own Sound Barrier. They use their own Whole Hog. The Rocket Barrage expended as well. All you got right now is the Valkyrie.
Managing to make his way to the high ground. He's not alone. Zebo also is there. Sweden need to drop down if I want to contest this point right now. And Chips has been taken very low, but he gets himself in that Valkyrie. AKM narrowly avoids the hook. Managing was definitely looking for the burn there. Nox has found Zebasai instead. Primal Rage as well, making half managing to set up where he'd like to, disrupting him constantly. Pulse Bomb stuck to Managing, but it's not enough to take him down. Eventually he falls though. Wynn's going to get put back on his feet. Chips now also forced to res. Managing, the big hog is back. That's a huge value res on a 600 HP target. Sweden with extra staying power now on the point. A lot of attention being drawn away from Tvik. That leaves him alone to rule the roost, to rule the skies, and to get a lot of damage done into this fight.
Yeah, Tvik and Snillo just putting the hurt on, and like you mentioned, when you bring back Manitin into the fight, Roadhog's such a beefy target. They must stay alive for so long. As France, they'll get up to 98%. It's a very tough fight for France there. They don't come out on top. Now Manitin, he has a Whole Hog. You have the Rocket Barrage here for Sweden. You don't have the luxury of a Valkyrie here, and neither team does. They're both going to have Sound Barriers though.
Managed with the Whole Hog here, so France are going to be in danger to try and push through these close quarters again. Get rid of the Diva, make sure most of your damage can come through for the Whole Hog. Perfect target for managing to have hooked first, and this Rogue Hog, more of a niche pick these days. These hooks are so damn good! Unco had no choice but to head straight into the flabby embrace.
He has been on point with the hooks as Roadhog right now, just in this map on Oasis. 54% hook accuracy, very good at the professional level. You know, these guys so talented, so fast, trying to bait these hooks in and out. Right? You know, just the threat of him having that hook, right? It just has to make Nico a little bit more cautious. Same with Soon.
Yeah, Manison wants more of the same, and so does Sweden. Snillo up on the high ground here. The pulse bomb from Soon doesn't really connect, so now Snillo has a chance to try and one-up his opposite number. Nico into the sky, it's going to be a sound barrier here, so Snillo needs to wait on this pulse bomb. This is not the time to use it. In a couple of seconds, it might be good to go. He's thinking about it. He's trying to deal with Wins, but Wins is very slippery. He didn't even notice Snillo was behind him. Maybe just a couple pinpricks in the back of his neck is how we knew. That's ambitious, Snillo. Tries to let a pulse bomb towards Unco, who of course is taken to the skies, and actually 1v1 Tvik down with a pistol. Unco finally finds his moment. And there wasn't even much Snillo could do about it there. All of his targets are either flown away or ducked away or dodged or dived or whatever. He couldn't connect.
And earlier in the fight for France, they were able to take out Chips. It's going to be a self-destruct. Snillo gets on, tries to keep this one going for France. He will fall. Chips gets the res. He's going to go back against the wall, try and stay alive.
France trying to stay alive in this series, trying to force one more map. This is a good way to start. Tvik getting hammered down by the rockets. The flick, the fade away. He's found AKM, but no! It's going to be Nox with the acrobatics to come through to smack him on down. Remind him who the boss is. And France with 4 players up on the point. It was just Zebo to stall out. It's not going to be enough. And France are not done yet.
Some insane plays from AKM. Nox there at the end. He has had a fantastic day. Pops the Primal Rage as France takes the first point here on Oasis, trying to force a tiebreaker map.
And it's nothing now but grim determination on the side of both of these teams. Sweden trying to avert a final map being played, a final control map no less, which of course if they struggle on this one it'll be much the same story. France, it's tooth and nail. It's nothing but spite right now. It's nothing but the grim understanding that this is their final time together. They want that bronze.
With just such a legendary roster that they have, you know, the success they've had together, it would be fitting, you know, the way they kind of get that bronze medal is bringing this one all the way back. And with all the pressure in the world on them, of course, that tiebreaker.
Nox now on the high ground. So most of France have opted to set up here to start with. Teams have drawn a line of scrimmage down the middle of the map, but Nox doesn't really like to respect these rules of engagement. He wants to go in. Swoosh now down to half HP, but Nico got D-suited, perhaps just a little bit too far forward. Maybe the call was not heard like the clarion. Both sides of France's roster, Nox needs to eject. Sweden have control early on here. Nox is definitely out of position. He realizes the fight's already done.
Yeah, Sweden rolls on out. They have Swoosh on the Reinhardt. They have Manitin on the Zarya. They're going to have Tvik playing the McCree here. You expected the Pharah pick, and then also, you know, you're going to charge Manitin up. When the Pharah rockets come down, you're able to get a lot of charge on Zarya. Potentially, they were even thinking maybe Soon would run something like a Junkrat here on this point, but it's going to force AKM to switch right away. He's going to go over to McCree. Then you're also going to have Nico. He's going to move off of the Diva. He's going to go and play a Zarya of his own.
Zebasai, safe positioning important. Now you can see you're sticking very close to Vic, so this is a backline. You probably don't want to dive. A lot of front-loader damage immediately available to Sweden here while they let their tank line do most of the barking in the direction of France. They have control, they have 31% here. A lot of damage, a lot of poke coming through from France. They have a McCree on AKM as well. But Zebasai calling the shots from the back as he always has done. It's definitely one of his greatest assets he brings to this team.
And look, you're really going to be able to supply to Vic with a lot of resources to do a ton of damage here. You're going to be able to damage boost him at times, the Discord orbs as well. CC just trying to fight his way back onto the point, has this Deadeye, is going to pop it, connects with one, all the other players fell. This will be a fight that Sweden wins. They're already up to 55%. Nice headshot to clean it off.
They got some real good damage there. Tvik obviously only claiming the 1 kill from that Deadeye. We could see that he had spread plenty himself. I mean, this is amazing. AKM versus Tvik. Tvik, by the way, on McCree, which is just something we don't see that often. But on this map, they want to opt for it. Again, these two guys used to be on the same team. These two guys used to have the same role. Back when we could have 2 McCrees. This is something we did often see on occasion. Good times, man.
Thankful we don't see that anymore. Yeah, I was just thinking if there were like multiple Mercies right now with multiple Tracers, it would be very difficult to figure out what was happening. It's going to be AKM with a nice headshot there. On it to Vic. It's going to force that res out from Chips. It's going to be Unko bringing Nico back into the fight. As, man, look at how charged up Manitin is. Just doing so much damage on this Zarya, just forcing them back. Poor wins. There's nothing he can do. Just jumps down the hole. Just trying to stay alive for a little bit longer. It's Nox in the back line. He pops the Primal Rage. Just trying to stay alive here. We are in overtime.
Yeah, Wins was split as well. He goes for the Transcendence, but he can't even get on towards the point. The BM is so real. Wins is forced to sit there doing his best Crane impression. And he can't do any damage in that form. Style points maybe. Damage, no. What a piece now.
France with their backs against the wall. See what they decide to do in this next point. Maybe you run the Pharah again. If you're AKM, you were very good on the Pharah. You actually went toe-to-toe with Tvik. You were able to get the better of the Pharah battle. And maybe we see him stay on the hit scan. And I think, well, at least at the beginning here, maybe you get that thing from Sweden. You're going to get the speed boost, and we're going to see Chips go back to the Mercy. Wins on the Lucio as well. Maybe he stays on it. You could probably go Lucio Mercy. I think you definitely want Mercy if you're Sweden. It's very powerful.
Sweden don't want to play Pharah here. AKM, however, has other ideas. We're running out on that one. And yeah, you can see he was fully charged up, Manitin was on University. So very impressive. And very important to have a charged up Zarya in your front lines. Over the Diva now, just showing more of this guy's flexibility and versatility. Speaking of which, Tvik also has that in spades. He's going to commit to the point now as we realize that the divers come in from France. Doesn't quite connect the Helix rocket. That would have been the stuff of legend. Soon has found Chips early on in the fight. Not a good start. Wins gets right into Tvik's face as well. Big Brother also knows how to play.
Well, it's beautiful. They forced Tvik onto the point. Now he has no cover to deal with AKM from. And AKM able to put some damage down. The rest of France comes on through, but Sweden will not go down easy as he manages. Oh!
Remember, kids, look both ways when crossing the road.
He's a gamer. He didn't go outside much as a child.
Clearly. Oh, dear.
That's dangerous.
AKM now. Control of the point for France here. This is them staying alive in this series. Must win this round. And it's all about whether the 76 from Tvik can counter AKM. But it looks like he knows how to play up against this. And damn well should by now. Mostly in the middle of the map. He's now able to get space created for him by his own front line. Point being contested, but only by one Swedish player, and this is AKM for you right now. He's close to a barrage, a lot of damage being put down. He does see Tvik, he knows he needs to back up. He dumps altitude, but then he pops straight back up when he sees that Tvik is no longer scrutinizing him. Barrage is going to be available if he needs to deal with any high health target or go for the clutch play. He was briefly discorded, so you can see that AKM makes his way back around the statue. Tactical visor means he needs to keep his head very, very low. He knows that Tvik's going to be looking for him now. Again, breaking line of sight, but no, there's a Winston on top of him. Swoosh knows that AKM was trying to avoid certain death of the aimbot, and he went and guaranteed it himself.
It was beautiful movement from AKM. Finally, he will fall. I mean, there's not many members of France on the point at that moment in time. It's just him and Soon, but you can see the way he's playing around the pillars, making it very difficult for Tvik to get any line of sight on him. Now it'll be interesting. It's how you get back to this point to try and use that fire effectively, because now Tvik is set up on the high ground, gives himself a good angle at AKM wherever he goes.
Nox again, just trying to ascertain or just trying to confirm that Sweden is set up on that high ground and try and figure out where the squishy targets are. Where's the Zen? Where's that Lucy? Where's that Mercy? So far, hasn't really found out anything, but he has a good idea and the hunch pays off. He's found Zebasai, who's going to be very, very low. Hard to deal with this, but look at the Mercy healing. This is why it's so hard to dive backlines now, because Mercy has it in spades. Tvik now, oh, don't plant traffic, son. That's not way to go. And Nox is not able to put him out there amongst the automobiles. He's forced to jump away and hope that he's done enough here. He has to hope that the distraction he's created is sufficient, but it's not. It's just not enough. Sweden now looking like they're going to even this match up, and Zebo has that transcendence. So important for the next fight.
It's such trust between Chips and Zebo that they don't actually pop the trance there, that Zebo trusts Chips, pops the Valkyrie, holds on to him for dear life, keeps him up through all the damage that's going down through him, because now, I mean, look at how much Chips has already built his way back up to another Valkyrie, already at about 50%. You still have that trance. On the side of France, you don't have any support ults. You're going to get that Valkyrie soon. But let's say if Tvik uses that attack visor, takes out Unko, you're really coming down to your last fight.
Just as Manhattan looks away, Soon pops up behind him. Fortunately, it doesn't really matter because Nox has fallen. He falls very early as well. There must have been micro rockets involved there. Tvik, that's wishful thinking, but he's hoping to get the potluck, trying to fire on towards Unko from long range. Who's killing me? He says, I can't see him. But of course, it was AKM from long range, sending rockets in. Tactical visor is there, and AKM, oh, you better respect that one, my friend. Wins drops, and more importantly, is 92%. Zebo still has his transcendence. This could be it for France. This could be their final stand.
France is going to have to get in contest here. You can see how far Sweden's playing. They're going to get on the point, but Soon is going to fall. This is not looking good for France.
No, the tactical fights, the timing is perfect in France. It's all gone wrong. Tvik commands control. He commands respect. He commands the high ground. And Sweden will take the bronze medal in the World Cup for 2017.
Tvik with some excellent play on the 76. We knew it would come down to these two players. Tvik on the side of Sweden, AKM on the side of France. Tvik here at the end gets the better of him.
It's a disappointing result for Sweden to have not made it to the final, but France would be saying the same. Really quickly before we wrap up here, I want to, as someone who's followed Rogue and the French guys from the very beginning, thank them for everything they've done for Overwatch around the world. Honestly, the Atlantic Showdown champions, of course, beating Envious there, going towards APAC and winning that particular tournament. One of the most storied teams in Overwatch history. And they're all going to go their separate ways now, but the best part is we will still see them. Good night, sweet princes, but we'll see you tomorrow. And of course, from me and Matt, it's been such a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to cast this game for you. It's been a great World Cup. We'll see you around as well. And now we'll have a break and we'll come back and chat to the desk about the match that was. Thank you so much. Take it easy.